George Nichols and Chairman Levin so rudely interrupted me, I was doing thanks. So I'm going to go back to some more thanks. The most thanks around here goes to our CSI staff, John Goyer, Eric Toy, Andrew Northup, and Jim Lynn. So they worked hard, very, very hard to produce this event and to master the thousands of details that go into it. Pascal, I apologize, you are energetic, intelligent, and really a terrific team member, so forgive me for being a little sarcastic earlier. Jane Drake-Brockman is with us. Come on up, Jane. We have had, as I said earlier, wonderful relationships with the services coalitions in other countries, especially with the Australians. And Jane has been a leader in Australia in these sorts of issues for a long time. She was the founder of the Australian Services Network, Roundtable rather, and founder and director of the Australian Services Roundtable. And she is our summit rapporteur. That is to say, she has taken on the horrible job, extraordinarily difficult job of coming forward with a communique. And this year, this communique has some meaning, I'd say. Not that last year's didn't. But this year, we not only created some political energy, we not only created a sense of ourselves as an important sector, we came into this with an agenda. We came into this determined that we would support a market access negotiation sometime before the G20 summit in Seoul. We came into it largely led by Fred Bergstedt last night at a dinner for ministers, with a determination that the G20 summit must include a mandate on services, a direction to heads of state, as Minister Sharma indicated this morning, that heads of state should direct trade negotiators, ministers, etc., to make progress on services and to include in those negotiations the regulators who determine so much of the future of liberalization of trade and services. So here to give you a summation, a summary of the important communique that we will issue and hope that others will heed is Jane Drake-Brockman.
Well, this morning, the Mexican Secretary for the Economy urged this summit, in light of his discussions over dinner last night, to issue a statement today calling for completion of the Doha round. And indeed, the Global Services Coalition has prepared a communique. I'm not going to read it to you, though I do recommend it for detailed reading. I'm going to paraphrase it as Bob suggested. But first, I want to highlight that this communique comes from a very broad representative sample of services industries around the world. From Australia, from Canada, from New Zealand, from Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan, from the European Union, from the United Kingdom, and from India, all of us partnering very closely with the United States Coalition of Services Industries to prepare this statement. And it's not the only thing that we've done. We've also issued this morning what I think is a groundbreaking statement on services and development, which again I commend for reading, because in issuing this statement, the business community is really taking responsibility for and initiating very important global advocacy work that needs to be done, circulating the findings of recent research showing that services trade reform is everywhere in the developed world and in the developing world, increasingly a driver of productivity growth and a generator of jobs. So I commend that statement to you. Now, turning to the communique itself, as Bob says, we call on G20 leaders as well as APEC leaders to use their forthcoming meetings both in Seoul and in Yokohama to reignite the Doha round. The Asian location of these meetings is important. For decades, the Asian region has benefited from openness in the multilateral trading system. And now, in the interests of future global growth, the business community looks to the Asian region to lead the Doha round to a successful conclusion. To conclude successfully, services must be elevated fast to the centre of government focus so that commercially meaningful outcomes can be achieved, meaning bindings of new market access, bindings of autonomous liberalisation, and commitments to enhance transparency, efficiency, and predictability of services regulation. We call in our communique for G20 leaders to issue instructions specifically to accelerate the negotiations on services, and we emphasise that the ground needs to be prepared in Geneva now. So in the Global Services Coalition, we hope that we all can leave this summit today with a renewed determination to get on with services seriously and fast so that we can finish the round and lay the foundation stone for sustained economic prosperity. I commend it to you. It's 2 pages long, so I'm not going to read it.
Cocktails, dessert cocktails. They are right across the hall. Our guest will soon be Congressman Joe College, leader in the Ways and Means Committee, in the Democratic leadership, and the New Democrats, and also a co-chair of the Congressional Services Caucus. So please join us all for a drink, and we'll hear from Congressman College.